Good afternoon, and thanks for having us in. A judge in Lake County this morning sentenced two men involved in a high-speed chase that led to gunfire at law enforcement last summer. James Lamfer received a life sentence for firing at the officers. His passenger, Bonner Jewell, received a 20-year sentence. The pursuit took place last July through Moody and Lake counties at speeds approaching 100 miles an hour. We'll have more details from the courtroom later today on KELOLAND News. Also new this midday, a federal judge says Minnehaha County cannot require people with petitions to check in and stay in designated areas. In May, the commission voted unanimously to put restrictions in effect outside county buildings at the request of Auditor Leah Anderson. Dakotans for Health responded with a federal lawsuit claiming the rules violate the First Amendment. Now a federal judge agrees. The rules will remain on hold while a lawsuit makes its way through court. We've posted the judge's orders along with links to previous stories on the restrictions on KELOLAND.com. Excitement is building in Pierre for a Navy ship that will bear that name, and the building of that boat hasn't even started yet. Pierre Mayor Steve Harding is going to Austell, USA in Mobile, Alabama Friday for the first part in the process, the keel laying. U.S. Senator John Thune's daughter Larissa Hargens is the Pierre's sponsor. Harding says it will take 2 years to get the vessel into service. After christening, the last step before a Navy ship is ready for use is the commissioning. That activity falls on the namesake of the ship, in this case, the city of Pierre. The Friends of the Big Sioux River organization is receiving a sustainability grant from the city of Sioux Falls. The nonprofit will receive nearly $10,000 for its water quality curriculum development and education project. This provides hands-on learning to middle and high schoolers. The Sustainable Community Grant is a public works initiative that started in 2016. And South Dakota's flagship university is the first SD Board of Regents school to receive an IDEAS program grant. The University of South Dakota is one of 34 U.S. colleges to receive a grant to expand study abroad programs. USD will use the grant to develop a first-year study abroad tour to study how that impacts long-term success. The U.S. Department of State's Increase and Diversify Education Abroad for U.S. Students, or IDEAS program, started in 2016. You've heard of people working decades at the same job before retirement, but how about putting in another 27 years for a different company and still counting? For an 88-year-old employee at Jim and Ron's Towing in Sioux Falls, retirement for him meant staying busy. Gene Vogneld worked for 40 years with the Department of Agriculture and has been at Jim and Ron's Auto Service ever since.
I was in my early 60s and I retired. And you've got to find something to do. I know people that retired and went home, and within a year they were dead. They had nothing to do. You've got to keep your mind active and keep going.
In tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, find out what keeps Gene Vogneld going and why working is such a passion for him. Well, turning now to a first look at your midday forecast with meteorologist Scott Munt. A warm day today, Scott.
Warm day. Temperatures back to the 80s and 90s. And it will be a little cooler in the western South Dakota, but I still think Rapid City will hit the lower 80s. We'll watch for rain chances, I would say, tomorrow across western KELOLAND, and they will slowly try to move to the east as we get into this coming weekend. Right now, we do have mostly clear skies overhead. We'll continue to watch the numbers. We're at 80 in Pierre, 82 degrees in Chamberlain. We have 83 in Aberdeen, 84 now in Sioux Falls, and 73 in Rapid City. Our forecast for today, high temperature near 90 in Sioux Falls, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, eventually falling close to 60 for an overnight low tonight. While in northeastern South Dakota, let's go with a high of 90 in Aberdeen, mostly sunny skies, eventually falling to near 60 for an overnight low tonight. And in central South Dakota, mostly sunny skies will continue throughout much of the day. A high temperature at 90 in Pierre, eventually falling to the low to middle 60s for lows tonight. And western South Dakota, looks like we'll have temperatures in the lower 80s today. There may be that isolated shower or thunder shower across the hills of western South Dakota. Otherwise, widespread 80s and 90s across the board for today. We'll continue to watch that rain chance. Starts tomorrow in western South Dakota. We'll see how much of that holds together and moves in the central KELOLAND, and then we'll watch it slowly try to move to the east. just in time for this coming weekend. Along with it, we'll have cooler temperatures. I'll have more details on your KELOLAND live Doppler forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Sioux Falls Animal Control is asking for your help in another dog bite case. A man was walking his shepherd mix near South Grand Slam Place and East 45th Street when he met another man with a dog on Sunday. He was walking a yellow Labrador retriever. Both dogs were on a leash. They stopped to let the dogs sniff each other when they started to fight. The lab bit the man with the shepherd mix on the hand. The department needs to verify the lab's vaccinations. If you have any information, call Animal Control. Authorities say a fishing boat carrying migrants capsized and sank off the coast of Greece, leaving at least 79 people dead and many more missing in one of the worst disasters of its kind this year. Coast Guard, Navy, and merchant vessels fanned out Wednesday for a vast search and rescue operation that also included a plane and a helicopter. Authorities said 104 people have been rescued so far after the boat sank overnight in international waters. It is unclear how many people are missing at this time. The U.S. has announced another $325 million in military aid for Ukraine as the Ukrainian military continues its counteroffensive. The aid includes more armored vehicles. Russia, without offering any evidence, claims it has destroyed 25 to 30% of Ukraine's foreign supplied hardware. Ian Lee reports from southern Ukraine.
A dusty road leads to one of the latest villages liberated by Ukrainian troops. No building is left untouched. The trail of destruction shows the ferocity of the fighting. Several hundred people lived here before the war. Now it's a ghost town. This soldier says the village was under Russian occupation for a year and a half. These are Ukrainian lands. And this is a symbol of their victory, fluttering in the wind. But it didn't come easily. Bodies of Russian soldiers lay nearby, abandoned by their comrades. This cell phone video shows a damaged Ukrainian armored vehicle. More will be needed. On Tuesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin boasted to journalists that his forces have destroyed 25 to 30% of foreign supplied equipment. While on the same day, the Pentagon announced a new $325 million aid package.
In terms of this package, this is something that meets the priorities of the Ukrainians. Armor, artillery, air defense, these are all priorities that they've laid out.
Part of the package includes Stryker and Bradley armored fighting vehicles, but the air defenses are also desperately needed. For a second night, Russian missiles struck a Ukrainian city, targeting a business center and warehouse in Odessa. The country waking up to more civilians killed as the war drags on. Ian Lee, CBS News in southern Ukraine.